pattern. So I want you to study the pattern very well. As you can see, this is the arrow pattern. This is the arrow pattern. It's a combination of the basket and arrows. And if you look very carefully, you see that this arrow, this third line, it occupies two lines. And the first one is the basket pattern. Then after the arrow sign, then we have just one of the basket pattern, not the two, just one. Then the arrow again, then one, then the arrow again, then two baskets. So this is what we are going to transfer into our main fabric. This is the completed design. This is the arrow. As you can see, these are arrow designs, and this is the basket design. So that forms the arrow pattern. If you look carefully, you will see the arrows facing here, and this is the basket. Although it's not that visible, but you can see it from here. So I'm going to teach you how to, I know everybody is now conversant with the basket pattern, but you don't know the arrow pattern. So I will be teaching you how to sew both the basket and the arrow once again. So let's get started. Let me first teach you before transferring our pattern into our fabric. So let's start. As we all know, the idea is to connect this point to this point, this point to this point, this point to this point, which we all already know. So now this is the arrow pattern. What we'll do is to connect here, here and here, here, here and here, and that's what forms the arrow. So let's get started. Let me start with the basket. So let's call this point A and this point B. So let's start from point A. I put in my thread and knot, then go to point B and connect, then secure my thread by tying it very tight. Then I'll go to the next point, start from A, and remember to leave my thread hanging loose. Then secure my thread, tie it up again, then go to point B and drag to point A, then secure my thread, tie, and make another tight knot. Good. So now let's go to the arrow pattern. So what we do is you call this point A, point B, and C. So we are going to connect these 3 points together. So let's start. I'll go to point A. Remember to leave this hanging loose. Then I secure my thread by tying, then come to point B, and I'm not going to tie it. Then I'll go to point C, then pull. So I've pulled tightly the 3 points together. Then I'll secure my thread by tying it tight. Then same goes to the next arrow, point A, B, C. We start from point A, and remember to leave your thread loose here. Then the point B, and the point C. Then pull together tightly, secure my thread and tie. So this is the process we use all over your grids, and this is what it will look like behind. So let's transfer our pattern to the main fabric. As I said earlier, the measurement is all here. From here to here, this is a 55 by 28 pillow. So from here to here, that's our width is 28 inches, and from here to here our length is 55 inches. And remember, you leave 1 inch here for sewing allowance and 1 inch here for sewing allowance, and don't forget your 6 inches up and down for covering the pillows. So now let me transfer the pattern exactly the way it is here to our throw pillow. So I'm going to start with the basket design. And you go all the way. For time factor, I'm not going to go all the way. I will just do a little sample for you. Then don't try using marker for your work. It will stain the back of your pillow. I'm just using this for the sake of this class. Use pencil, only pencil. Then the arrow, you come to the empty box. You come under the empty box, directly under the empty box, to mark your first arrow. So this is where I'm going to mark my first arrow, here. Then leave a space, mark the next, leave a space, mark the third, leave a space and mark the fourth, leave a space, mark, leave a space, mark, leave a space and mark, leave a space and mark. Then I will use this. I will now come to the immediately after my arrow. I will use this same position, the last basket position you use. That's the same position you use, the same direction you use for the next line. So this one is facing this way, so I'm going to mark this same type of direction here. So here you go. Then after this, our basket will now follow, our arrow will now follow. See it. So I think this is enough for the class. So let me just show you one few steps, then we'll cover it up. So this is your point B.